Good morning. Thank you, everybody, for taking time out of your schedule on a sunny day. And we'll hurry up and hopefully we can get through the meeting before the thunderstorms move in.
Yeah, thanks.
We're gonna start the meeting officially now, but I'm going to ask that we can immediately go into executive session. We have a loan presentation for Moon Mountain LLC, and we have Evan on Zoom to walk us through the loan presentation, and he's on vacation. And like I said before, I don't want to keep Evan off the beach any longer than I have to. So why don't we,
For executive session.
we'll start the executive session, and Evan, it's all yours.
Wait a minute, we need a second.
Second.
Okay, Evan, it's all yours. Okay, we're back live in the LDC meeting, and we had a loan review of Moon Mountain LLC. And we have a motion to take action on this loan.
I'll move to approve under the 5 criteria that were outlined during executive session.
I'll second.
Second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Just-
Evan,
Just a quick question. Does the property become exempt from property taxes?
No, they're gonna own it privately and lease it to the school. It'll be, so it's,
Good.
it'll stay on the schedule.
That's good.
okay, Evan. All
All right.
good?
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Evan. Okay, have a great vacation.
Thanks.
Yep, see ya.
Enjoy. Yep. Bye.
Yep, bye-bye.
7:30 in the morning in California.
Well, he's getting on a flight at 11, coming back. His vacation's over.
Oh, it is?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, oh, He's had enough.
He's done.
You know, I'd just like to make a point. 2 of my kids went to Montessori school in New York. And when we brought them up here, one of them was transferred to a prep school over and we were paying 1/3 for the prep school with room and board and everything. Then we're paying in New York for Montessori for the bus to pick them up and take them to the school. And we thought it was a fantastic deal to,
Mhm.
and then he got well educated.
Okay.
They do a good job, and I'm happy to see a choice here for education.
And just being in Provina is gonna make it, to me, more successful than if it was in any other community.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
question.
students might not all come from Provina, but being in Provina just kind of.
Yep.
Seals its success.
Good. All right. Thank you very much. Let's move along, and remember, we're under the LDC at this point. So can I have an approval for the minutes of July 25th,
So
please?
moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Glenn, the treasurer's report, anything?
Yeah, I don't have anything to add under those, just, we are hoping to hear back on our IRP 5 application by the end of this month. So that would be hopefully next week sometime.
Jim, we approved the minutes from June 25th, not July 25th.
Did I say July?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Going on the individual loan report.
Yes, okay, so yes, on the individual loan report, it looks nasty. But I haven't had a lot of time to devote to this this month.
Particularly with Evan gone for months on a time.
Yeah, and yes, with Evan's 5th vacation of the spring. So just going down quickly, the first one at the list, I was told I'd be receiving a lump sum payment in June, and I reported that at the meeting. I've yet to receive it. I haven't followed up with her because I know she's burrowed away and unavailable for all calls because she's in the middle of the CFA grant season as well.
Are you doing IDA or LDC?
Oh,
LDC.
all right, yeah, so let's start on the LDC. Okay, sorry, wrong page. So the first one on the list, they are one payment behind just for June. Same with the next one on the list, we just cashed their check this week for their June payment. The next one on the list, again, is due for this month.
What's the deal with the $10,800 worth of back due payments there?
All right, so that's PK, well, that's that company. They first started on a deferment that the board granted when, the wife came down with cancer. Then that carried over into, COVID. Because they never came back, we're showing the full amount due from all of their approved deferments. Evan has made contact with the owner, and I wish we hadn't let him go. We talked about this in June. To my understanding, nothing has progressed since the June meeting, but in the middle of June, he had gotten in contact with the person. They understand they owe this money. They are planning to pay. They were hoping that the business would be restarting this summer and that they would be working us off.
All right, so it's not a case where you think we're in trouble here, it's just, we gotta get it
Oh,
going
it's
again.
not great.
All right,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I mean, this is not one where we're going to be like, oh, okay, you know, this is, we need to come to a final date of when we're coming
all
back.
right.
Go ahead and refresh my memory. What do they do?
They're a car transport company, so they transport cars primarily from upstate to
Mexico.
Florida. yeah,
Mexico.
To, you know, for the winter season and back in the summer, and then sales back and forth, especially like people buy classic cars from down south because they've never been in an upstate winter and they go down and transport it back.
All right, the next one?
That one, I don't have an update on.
Yeah, Evan needs to work on those too when he gets back.
Yes, yes.
Because I'm concerned about both of them, but the one that's $7,400 past due. Got a big balance out there, and economically, I'm worried about its viability.
Well, that industry is going upside down.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any succeed in that industry yet,
Yeah.
based on making money out of that industry.
Right. Yeah, so he is, yeah, I don't have enough,
Right.
I don't have enough to say anything.
Right. The past due list is like Evan's Monday.
Yes.
Just a high risk business.
Right, but really, if you look at it from a certain point of view, there's only two on the LDC that are,
Correct.
yes,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, it's good odds, it just.
Yes, but yes, it needs attention, and that's what I said, this hasn't gotten any attention since June.
Yeah, and it's 150,000 when you add in the two of them together, so.
Yeah.
Right.
Not like
All
it's 10 grand.
Mhm.
Okay.
Let's go back to the IDA.
Okay, individually there, you heard my complaint about the first one on the
Yeah.
list.
But that can't be the excuse.
I know.
Yeah, I understand, but you know, you're paying your electric bill and you're paying your phone bill. I was
Yes.
not happy about this one when we paid it, and then you get this kind of a excuse. You're like, really?
We've just never been a
Hello,
priority.
Florida.
And yes, so
How are
I will reach out to her. The next three on the list, they're all one payment behind and just for July.
So the second and third ones on.
They had some bookkeeping errors and payments got returned because they weren't keeping enough cash in their checking account.
Really?
Yeah,
And then we saw those numbers back in.
yeah,
April that were
there's
like
absolutely
home
no
runs.
excuse for it.
So it makes me go, were those numbers accurate? Because this kind of a situation tells me those numbers weren't correct, or something went all to pieces in the meantime.
Right. No, I've been monitoring other expenses there as well, and there was a period in like March through June where things just weren't getting done.
Because there was too much else going on.
It could have been distracted, you know,
We got
the
something on
person
the
was
agenda.
saying it was, they were bringing someone new in and they were making mistakes and, you know, but
Hmm.
But we got the issues of insufficient funds addressed in June, made up a payment that was skipped at that point there, and now they're just due for July.
Yeah, but when you're talking the cash flow that she showed us, you don't think. your
Right, it's
cash
just a
flow
disappointing,
Right.
balance.
it's sloppy. That's what it appears to me, is it's just sloppy.
But that's worrisome in terms of the rest of the accounting, and to have made that what appeared to be such a dramatic turnaround.
Mhm.
I'm still like, ugh, are your inventory numbers right? Are you really understanding your margins?
Well, maybe it would be good to see how, you know, things are at our August meeting and have a presentation.
Yeah.
Do they have somebody who does their accounting internally, externally, or who oversees their books?
An employee is doing some clerk work. And
Who's a good bookkeeper in town that can be doing that kind of stuff for them?
Green Slate does that. I don't know how expensive they are, but they do it for a lot of other companies.
Probably time to explore that as an opportunity.
Mhm.
But unless they're doing it quite frankly, they're not gonna kind of
Mhm.
check count and so no cash
Should be the
flow.
kind of thing where like
Got some home
brings
brings
everything
money.
to you on a weekly basis, and you are effectively the employee, but it's for a fee and you do it for 10 other people, so it's less than hiring somebody.
Right. Yeah, no, I understand that point, but it's just the concern is if they're doing it weekly, there still could be cash flow issues where your check comes in and there's only $100 left in the account.
Right.
When the number she was showing us says, I think you
So
have,
there's excess cash.
right, you should be
Surprising.
$5,000 sitting there just in
Right.
case something
Right.
goes up. You know, or a deal comes along on inventory or something.
Yeah.
You couldn't pay $100 out for it, but you have money to buy that inventory then. It's just a little scary.
Mhm.
Just pieces don't add up.
Before we move along, Florida, we're discussing the loan report for the IDA at this point.
Yep.
And we're down to we're gonna look at the loan balance in the column halfway down to 1424.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so that business is due for July. It's,
Thank you.
we will contact them, but it's not uncommon that payments get made at the end of the month.
And
I'd like to
But the
skip
other-
over the next one.
the other thing on this, I would think she would be paying ahead
Hmm.
at her busiest peak time right now to kind of make winter
Sure.
easier
Later on.
when the income drops.
Cash flow is likely best September, October, November, when everything from the summer has come in.
Yeah,
And then
okay.
when the inventory starts to drop off, but yet you're selling, you're not buying any more inventory. Cash flow is best then.
Yeah, okay. So I'm a little early on that.
But your point's still valid. There's lots of cash running through there. It's probably not a profit sticking right now.
Right.
It sticks later.
Okay, so the Hancock-based business, they are due for July. We will follow up with them, but again, at this point, I consider that more of just a reminder.
So you're coming back to the one that's 22,000.
I'm gonna come back to that. Okay, yeah, because that's my. The next one down, 6,500. Evan has been in contact with the owner. They have listed the property for sale. They understand that we are the primary lien holder and that at any sale, that we will get paid off. And Evan has told them, as you're selling it, if you need assistance or if there's a viable business coming in, that we would be willing to work with them, although we would not be willing to finance anything there.
Right,
Yes,
3 strikes and we are out.
right. Yes.
So why did they pop their head back up all of a sudden? Been like 2 years, 3 years since we've heard from them.
Yes. I don't know. I think they finally just made the decision that there's no way they could resurrect what they were trying to do, and they just needed to get out.
George, can we get out
And-
from under?
I think so. I think the building's not, it's 40,000.
Right.
Where's the room? Oh, that's the,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth 40,000.
oh,
Remember, we always used to go there and have drinks.
And we're the first
4 years ago.
lien holder.
We are the first and only lien holder on the property.
Everything's selling.
but then that's.
Right.
good.
It's all
I
selling
mean, it
now.
could sell as just an apartment building and for triple that price.
Right, so, yeah.
I think we're in good shape there.
Yeah.
Or we're protected.
Yeah, I don't think, we don't have any interest in what goes on there in the future, because I don't think it will go back to a business
Right,
that we would be involved with.
right.
But I don't worry about our collateral. Then the last one on the list, that building, I haven't been able to confirm that there's a sign. You might have more knowledge on this.
I
couldn't
really haven't
confirm
seen
that
a
there's
sign, I haven't
purchase
seen a
of-
sign, but I finally got someone to tell me that there's some individual that bought the old townhouse restaurant next to the bank. That's the guy that's involved in this deal. And he's buying it from the Twisted Sisters.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what they have on the
Yeah.
side of their food truck, Twisted Sisters.
Oh, and that's another thing, that's, we've got the first mortgage on the property.
And you think that the purchase price, it takes us out,
Oh, yeah.
okay?
Yep.
We had
Then we skipped one.
we have Twisted Sisters and we have some tart. That one's going along all right? I guess that one's back on the LDC.
It's on the
I
LDC.
forgot to ask about that one.
What I wanted to ask is that one, Scott, that one's forever for sale.
Mhm.
What's the status with the state now as far as foreclosures?
We can't do commercial foreclosures until the end of August.
End of August, okay.
Unless King Andy extends it.
What about residential?
Yeah, same
The
thing.
same thing.
All right,
So that could be it.
Yeah, I skipped over the tarts. Evan will be following up with them as well.
so I think what we should do is when we hit the end of August, assuming it doesn't get extended, we should have a house cleaning
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and turn Carly loose.
Yes.
Are county tax auctions on hold?
Yes, they
Yeah.
will, county tax auctions will be for 19 only. So 19 would have had to be your third year of non-payment of taxes.
Okay, because Oneonta's doing, or Otsego County's doing theirs. They're trying to ask for it.
Yeah.
So, but they can only do.
I don't know
from
what
that
the
way.
time frame is,
Mhm.
but that's as far, so anybody who hadn't paid in 20 or 21 is not in danger
Mhm.
for this next round of auctions.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
And this property hasn't had any more buyers looking at it. We still have the garage piece out back, right?
Yes.
Which is surprising with where it is, what town it's in. It's like everything where they're selling, so why isn't that one? Unless the
Yeah,
price
is
is
it
just way too
Andy's?
high.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It should be.
You know what's
some-
priced?
Andy's is
I do
moving a
not
lot
know
of
what
dirt.
it's priced at.
All right.
I
Well,
don't-
another Evan project.
Yes.
All right, thanks.
And then the one I skipped over, again, I apologize, I haven't followed up on this. I haven't followed up with our, loan customer. I have had a couple discussions with Empire State Development, a prior party that was interested in purchasing this back in December, January, is back on board, and I haven't had a chance. So they're working directly with Empire State Development. They have submitted their information to get a incentive out of Empire State Development for the acquisition of this property. It's still in the process of that being reviewed. An offer hasn't been made yet, but the purchasing company has submitted the information they need to.
Does that take us out?
Yes, yes.
So do we have two loans? I thought we had a $50,000 time note, and then I thought there was this loan as well. Is that time note under the LDC or an individual name? Does this dollar amount doesn't seem like it's all of the debt? Doesn't that seem like what was in?
Yes, you are correct. I don't know where the other IWC, I don't know why that's not on the list as well. And that was a $50,000 time note.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was fairly recent, wasn't that, 50?
It was.
Yeah, it was.
That was last fall.
Yeah, it was to cover cash.
Yeah, it was like October, November.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I don't remember, I thought we made it to the business, but I didn't remember whether it was LDC or IDA.
It was through IDA.
Okay, so let's check, because when we go to quote a payoff, we want to make sure we capture that.
Yes.
And we either trade cash or dirt for that 50 grand.
Right, yes. Yeah, that's what we want the 14-acre parcel for.
Correct.
Yes.
What were the terms on that 50 grand, do you remember?
I wouldn't want to give you a wrong answer. I can follow up with you and get back to the office.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on the loans?
No, just some work to do. Like I said,
Yeah, well,
we haven't
that's okay.
focused on that.
So Glenn, we're kind of low in the IDA on cash to lend.
Yes,
And the LDC seems a little better, but we don't want to be fooling ourselves, because half of what's there is in the agri-lending program.
right. So we do have an IRP application out there for another $750,000.
Okay.
We were told by USDA that when our application was denied in the spring, it's because the bar for approval in the spring is here. In the summer, the bar for approval comes down to here, and we're well above that level. So we're just waiting for that next round of consideration to occur.
Okay.
As far as the IDA goes, this is something, as it continues to dwindle, I wanted to bring up to the board is, in the past, we've talked about the IDA just getting out of the lending business entirely. So at some point, it would entail just the accounting maneuvering of transferring those loan accounts from the IDA over to the LDC. And then the IDA just does traditional IDA work, and the LDC is the sole lending arm.
So do we sell them to the LDC? Then that puts cash in the IDA that we really don't want in there.
Right, because then that Andy wants to recapture his
Sure, why don't you take it back?
Right.
Right. It's
Yeah,
better to
we
let it all
just transfer it
amortize.
over. Or, I mean, we could let it peter out and just not make any, and then do a cash transfer from one entity to the other, allowable.
Right.
Or we could transfer the loans.
I think we're better off transferring the loan,
Mhm.
because if the cash is sitting there and he's
He's
got
gonna
his
want it.
hand out, he's gonna get some of it. If the cash isn't there and you transfer the loans, there's nothing to give him. Hopefully.
Yeah, so that was something I was hoping to work on this fall,
Yeah.
when things calm down a little.
Okay.
How about the Millennium money there? Any idea, any use for that or any people looking for that?
No, but again, we haven't done much outreach down there the last couple months. But we've kind of keep that reserved, not necessarily reserved, good project comes up, it's needed, we'll do it for Deposit Hancock area. And I just haven't had any projects popping up from down there.
How much is in there now?
100,000.
That's where we took the last 50 for the one guy.
Yes.
out of.
Yes.
And didn't we do something else in?
We had talked about utilizing some of that funding. So the company that was interested in purchasing our deposit creditor, we had talked about potentially using the remainder of that funding to help offset their costs of acquiring that facility. Because my last conversation with him, was 75 to 100 new jobs. And at that point, it might be a good footnote for the use of that funding, and it might be a valid use of that funding as well.
And that may well come back
Assistance there.
around.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
You're talking again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, then any discussion on the invoices?
I did have another item there. We approved it in the IDA just to make it official in case any auditor goes back. Just to make sure that we approve Evan as being a signatory on the LDC accounts.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And can I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report and the loan report?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And do we need approval of invoices? I don't see that on.
No, there's no, yeah. Well, it was in the treasurer's report and invoices.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Okay, any other older new business for the LDs?
I do have one thing. We've been approached by the Friends of Bramley Mountain to act as a pass-through for a grant that they are applying to Parks and Rec for. The Friends of Bramley Mountain, over the last number of years, they've created a hiking trail system that's been very popular. They've done continual upgrades to it. Last year, or maybe it was even the year before, they paved the parking area at the base of the mountain. They've been continually working on signage. At the top was an old fire tower. The old fire tower was somehow saved and is sitting in storage in a building owned by Delaware County Electric Cooperative. So the Friends of Bramley Mountain are interested in applying for funding to be able to re-erect the fire tower at the top of the Bramley Mountain hiking trail.
There's a deer right behind you.
With a-
Oh, yeah,
fawn
nice little
behind
fawn.
Yeah,
Well, there goes the line.
yeah. You remember when we had the issue of urbanized
There's another
eagles
one.
down
Yeah.
south? Yes, in the village of Delhi,
Yeah.
yes, there are herds of deer
Oh.
that know they're safe.
They're in walls
Listen
too.
Closely here, we may hear
Crash.
So you go to see them in.
It tick
city of
magnet.
Syracuse.
One night I went out to go to work early in the morning. I opened my truck door and there's a deer standing on the other side of my door. Scared to death. I don't believe it.
So what's the downside to us?
Absolutely none. Basically what would happen is if they get in order to submit the application, we would have to be the technical applicant. I guess we would then prudently have an oversight role to make sure they're spending the money in accordance with the grant, but it's not we've done Parks and Rec grants before, and it's not overly difficult. And then just pass through the money from Parks and Rec to,
We don't assume any of the liability.
no.
Well, not to be a Debbie
Yeah.
Downer. I think we need to do, if we do this, I think we need to get a hold harmless agreement from liability on that
Yeah.
fire tower.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
my concern.
Because they're taking a 50-year-old or however fire tower, putting the thing back together
Putting it way up high with somebody.
for people climbing on it.
Right.
Yes.
And I don't really want any part of the liability on that.
And this can be our contribution to this organization
right.
to do the administrative work.
Right.
And I think the town of Delhi is going to be providing liability insurance for this.
Yes,
Because it's
And-
on DEP land.
Whether,
Oh, it is.
yes.
Okay,
whether we can get named as an additional insured on the town's,
should be able to.
yeah, I think we've got to protect ourselves from liability.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Some kids can get up there somehow.
Mhm.
You wanna make the motion?
I'll make a motion. We do
Quick
this.
question for you guys.
We don't-
Just one quick question. So who's the administrator of the grant?
Glenn,
We would.
Yeah, my office would be, if we're gonna service the pass-through, we would do the admin work to make sure the
The
money's.
funds are used for what it's supposed to be used for, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
How much they asking?
150,000.
To erect the tower?
I wouldn't take a fee unless you direct me to take a fee.
The goodwill out of that would drop if we charge a fee.
That's a portion of it. That's obviously not the full
That's
cost.
not, right.
No, no, no.
Like 250, 300.
I think it's even more than that. I thought it was like 450,000 was the estimate that I
Keeps going
got.
up.
good
And-
Lord.
They've got,
It's made of gold?
they've got plenty, well, in order to, I mean, it's
To
up on
build
the
a
top of
road.
the mountain. And
Oh,
they're gonna put concrete castings in to hold the tower up. I mean,
And it's on DEP property.
And it's
That
on
makes
DEP.
it tough.
oh, there we go. No, I watch these things on YouTube all the time with these people walking the Appalachian Trail, and every 2 or 3 states, there's at least a couple of fire towers that they're all climbing all the way up to the top
Yeah.
to look out. So
Yes.
I get it what they're doing.
That's why I don't want any part of it.
Yeah, they should make the
That's a
ladder
liability.
about 15 feet up.
but it is a very nice hike if you ever done it. I've done it about 4 or 5 times with my family, and you get, 3 sides of great views.
Yep.
It's worth it.
The only thing in Hancock we've come up with exciting is a dog park. I mean,
No, my dogs.
to each their own.
Where do they put the dog park?
They're fighting over that now.
They're gonna put it right in the middle of that square, right? No.
They already have one. I said they already have one. It's in the square. Anyway, I will make the motion to administer this
I'll
grant.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Scott.
Opposed? Thank you. Any other old business, new business? Then can I have a motion to adjourn the LDC?
So moved.
And
Second.
we'll open the IDA meeting. And can I have an approval of the minutes from June?
I approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The
Aye.
financials, I wanted a motion to approve the treasures and the loan report.
So moved.
All in favor? Oh, second, I'm sorry. All in favor?
All right.
Okay, thanks. Then the, under updates, the first one is the pipeline project. The pipeline from hell.
Yeah, okay, so, calls continue. There's, I think Jim was on one Monday, which was very constructive and quick and short. And then we were on one yesterday, which was, full of lawyers and, maybe not as short and definitely not as productive. So basically where we're heading with the pipeline is all of the documents necessary for the IDA to submit a petition to the town of Delhi to form a sewer works corporation have been prepared. They are currently out for comment to the industries, the town, and I guess even the village, to see if they have any concerns about what we're planning on doing. And basically that would be transferring the pipeline and pump station assets from the IDA to this new Sewer Works Corporation in exchange for 200 shares. And then at some point in time, that would facilitate the IDA for being able to sell its interest in the Sewer Works Corporation ultimately to another entity or those industries down below. The Sewer Works Corporation will have 2 users, which would be the 2 industries, as well as having a contractual obligation to provide sewer service to Clark Companies and Swartzfield Specialties. The way that's specifically written, it also includes a couple of adjoining homeowners as well. Property owners, not homeowners.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sorry, property owners, not homeowners. I think that was just in case an individual expanded his holdings down there, wanted to make sure all parcels were included.
Yep, yep.
Good. Yeah.
Smart move.
Yes, absolutely. So that, it's out for comment now. The town board has approved the formation of the Sewer Works Corporation contingent upon resolution of one issue, which related to eminent domain. And the attorneys have a handshake agreement that we've stipulated that the Sewer Works Corporation would only use eminent domain with a resolution of approval from the town board. So they would have to approve its use. So with that, everybody seems to be on the same page. The next Town of Delhi meeting is the second Tuesday in August, which I think is, we're planning on presenting it to the full town board at that point. So that's that side of things.
So who are the owners of this new corporation going to be?
Currently, it is the idea,
Okay, and only the idea.
only the idea.
All right.
So no different than the situation we're currently in, except a little bit more protection.
Right. And are we going to capitalize it with some cash?
No. Okay, all right. So the Sewer Works Corporation, the way it would work is, let's say it's up and running. This is the scenario right now. It'll be up and running September 1st. September 1st, we will submit an annual budget for the operation and maintenance of the pipeline and pump station to the industries. They will pay, we haven't gotten this far yet, but they will either make a lump sum payment then, or we will just divide it by 12 and they will make equal monthly payments equal to the budget that we have established for the year.
With a financial incentive that has them pay it all that upfront. Because from a cash flow standpoint, if something happens, we need the cash up front.
That is separate. There is going to be an allowance in there that ideally we don't need it, but would fund up to 2 pipeline breaks. Anything beyond that, we could get into that, but I don't even want to say. Things have been quiet. I don't want to jinx myself by saying anything. Yeah, exactly. How much wood can I knock? You know, things have been quiet. But it is budgeted that there's funding in there upfront to handle at least 2.
Okay.
And then anything beyond that would be billed as it is incurred as we do now.
And we talked about unexpected capital expenditures.
Right.
And there's going to be a provision to.
So that's on the operation and maintenance
So
side.
not to get into the weeds on you right now.
Right.
But when you're creating your budget, you're thinking about putting in what that anticipated 2 breaks could cost.
Yes,
And that becomes part of the budget.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Right.
Yep, as well as insurance and the operation and the electric bills and everything of that nature. And that equals the budget.
So who's the executive of that corporation? You?
Yeah.
So there needs to be some salary for that too. Because this takes an exorbitant amount of your nights and weekends with this corporation, because you're still gonna have your regular government job.
Yes. I'll have to review the budget.
And
So-
that's serious.
And I think as far as the operation and maintenance, one good thing that came out of yesterday's conference call that I really latched onto is that the pretreatment plants for Domo is in the, I can't remember, I made notes, but in last 2 weeks has come online.
Yes, so there have been issues where they're violating their agreements, causing the village to violate its permit. For the last 2 weeks, everybody has been in compliance across the board. The industries individually, as well as the village as the end depository or whatever you want to
With the
call it.
TDS, like everything?
Yes,
No,
No,
TDS,
not
there's still
TDS.
problems with TDS, but they're working on solving that.
yes, one of the industries still has problems with TDS.
But we've got a much better quality of waste.
Yes, and because of that, you know, our regimen of
Statement.
cleaning, which has been much more formalized and much better communication, our flow rates have stabilized in an area that is meeting demand.
Okay. You ready to leave that particular topic?
I think so.
All right.
You tell me.
I apologize for missing the last 2 meetings. So if what I'm gonna ask happened at one of those 2 meetings, you can make a sarcastic comment.
Can I start with one? I was surprised you're not at your northern office today.
I was not at the northern office for either of those 2 meetings that I missed. But we had a outstanding liability with the pump maker, and we were arguing about.
Yes, we came to resolution
You
on
did?
that.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. We ended up paying right around 40%.
Okay.
As if, in the project costs, which have then been, the industries have paid, and oh, you did miss this, the village has paid their share, so we're completely done with
All
that.
right. So we, as the IDA, don't have any outstanding liability to deal with.
No. Okay, so operationally, we're good, that's the school works budget. Beyond that is the new pipeline project. So the industries have hired a company, Brown Caldwell, to review and examine the pipeline, what's needed, everything like that. That will serve as the engineering report the IDA needs to present to DEC to satisfy our consent order, which is still in limbo, and I'll circle back to that if you want. I've been speaking with the engineer. We had a call on Monday. Jim was on. I spoke to him again today. And so they're gonna have a draft report for us on Monday. The budget we're gonna be utilizing for that project is gonna be 1.65 million. That's presuming a prevailing wage project with, you know, some allowance for contingencies for a number of possibilities. So that is a final, well, he and I agreed that that would most likely be the finalized number that we're gonna be using for grant opportunities coming up. So there was 2 programs that were available through the CFA process. This didn't come up on the lawyer call because I couldn't get more than 30 seconds to speak on that during that call. So there's 2 opportunities that I had brought up, one of which I was interested in pursuing. there's a water quality improvement program that is available through the Environmental Facilities Corp in conjunction with DEC. That would normally sound like a no-brainer. That program is very specific in terms of what its priorities are, and the straight replacement of a sewer pipe is not its priority. And further, its priority is not funding programs that benefit businesses. Their priority is funding low-income communities who's, dumping sewer right into a river and can't afford to do anything about it. So in discussing, this is new today. So in discussions with the engineer, he thinks it's a long shot, but he's going to take that on with the industry's approval. He's going to take it on and just throw an application in, and if we get it, we get it. But he and I agree we're not going to get it. The alternative to that is an Empire State Development Grant. I have, in order to do that, the IDA would be the applicant because we are the owner, and we would be, at least for the time being, the owner of the infrastructure. We would be applying for 20%, a grant of up to 20% of project costs. In order for us to do that, it's investment and job creation. The investment side we can handle. The job side, the IDA doesn't create jobs, businesses create jobs. So I've got questions out to Saputo and Friesland Campina. Here's an opportunity. I'll do all the work. I'm going to need some basic information from you. And at the end of the day, whatever job pledge we come up with to make this a fundable application, you guys are on the hook for, and you're going to therefore have to share with me your New York State 45 forms for the next, 8 to 12 quarters, whatever.
But this is 20% of the project.
20% of project costs.
The long shot one would be how many?
40%.
40%. All right.
So we're going to throw them
We still
both
got
in.
more to go.
Yes. Okay. So that's what's coming up immediately. That application is due on Friday. I need some response from the industries before I can really go for it. But whatever, that'll be fine. So let's say that's 20%. I really feel that'll be a strong application. These industries are well known in our region and well supported. I think that would be fine, and I think we will get it.
Anything through ag, because these are ag industries as well.
No, my next target is EDA. We use them for the Amphenol project. This is infrastructure to support business. It's an absolute no-brainer EDA project. They will be somewhere between 40 and 60%. I have to hash out where we are in terms of some statistics that determine how much we're eligible to receive. I've already spoken to Senator Schumer's office that, I submitted a member item request to Senator Schumer's office back this spring, knowing we wouldn't get it, but to put it on their radar screen. I got a call back like the next day from Senator Schumer's office, like, well, we really like this project, but you're probably not going to get funded. I'm like, yeah, I know, but we're going to need you this fall when we apply to EDA. So the fall application period for EDA should be October, pending a federal budget. So October, November, December timeframe, I would be applying for an EDA grant. Let's say that ends up being 60% project financing. That's as good as we're going to get. And honestly, with how little response I get from the industries, or how little priority they seem to place on this item, I don't know, does it matter? Whether we get 10 or 20 or 50 or 60 or 80, they're going to move forward with this project.
They have to.
Right.
Well, the other option is CWC.
What?
CWC, well, all right, so here's a difficulty.
It was,
I
it was
can't
easier to do Amphenol,
I can't mention, but
31
so
million.
this is solely for the pipeline. There are also upgrades that are gonna be required at the Delhi wastewater treatment plant. That is where we will pull the trigger on CWC.
Yeah, but part of the Delhi should be funded by DEP already, so I don't know if you need to go through CWC, well, maybe for the portion that won't be covered, DEP doesn't pay it out.
There's some confidential information that I can't share.
Okay, all right, that's fine, just,
That is a complicating factor with that. So for the time being, I'm only focusing on the pipeline.
yeah, okay.
I can't focus on that yet.
All right,
Yeah.
So Glenn, you're saying that this project could be up to 80% finance. You said we were gonna get.
No, what I said on the phone yesterday is I think it's reasonable to expect we could get somewhere between 40 and 60%. Which I think is great.
great.
Yeah.
And I think the businesses would think it's great. So I think nobody's gonna complain, you know, at the end of the day, I haven't done the math yet, but you know, several $100,000 each to those companies to give them the surety. I mean, they're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars per break. So in the lost production of one break, they get a brand new pipeline that they don't have to worry about for 20 to 30 years.
Yeah, the math is really easy.
It's real good math for them. Yeah.
And I didn't hear anybody flinch at all when you put that out there.
And I wouldn't think they would.
60%.
Yeah, so that's where we are with the pipeline.
A 10-year deal coming to a horizon, you can see the end.
10-year deal? We got involved in this.
22.
Yeah, 98.
But it's only been the last 10 and it's been really ugly. Before that, it was just.
We were on a honeymoon for a while.
We are very patient people.
Yeah, look at our past due list.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so,
So before you talk about
these are some,
potential
these are
sale,
some confidential items. We would probably have to go back into executive session.
Okay.
all right.
But if you have something first,
No, let's
I think,
finish
think
number
all
4 and then go to
well, no,
executive session.
no, I want that.
4's got to go into executive session.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we go into executive session.
I'll second.
Okay, thanks. There's no,
There's no action.
no action on any of the items. Any other old or new business for the IDA?
Lunch.
Yeah, I have a couple items. I just to give you an update on the meat processing plant in Walton, that's still moving forward. I have an appointment set up for Monday with the potential owner and the mayor and the head of the wastewater plant in Walton to deal with those issues. So that'll happen on Monday, and
The town supervisor's not involved?
Keep this.
I haven't, no.
Okay.
And I'm meeting with the mayor only because it's the village wastewater plant.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I have no,
He's an idiot, so I'm fine.
But that opinion hasn't changed in a long time.
No.
The other thing I wanted everybody to know is
How do
just
you really feel?
as an update, yesterday I went
You
to
really don't
the
wanna know how I feel.
ribbon cutting for the Stratton Falls
Oh, excellent.
Resort
Nice.
over in Roxbury. And it is the most spectacular property in Delaware County,
Yes, it is.
no question.
Yes, it is.
And
That's great.
during the ribbon cutting ceremony, when Greg was giving this little talk, he indicated that the units in the the development there, were 100% reserved for a year out.
Wow.
And they, with the exception of one building that has just come online, which is kind of the biggest and the big focal point of this whole development. That one is booked for 2 years out.
Wow.
So that's pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
And,
Add a little more in your 99.99 per night rate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is not Motel 6.
they're not keeping the light on for anybody.
But it's increased the value of all the other properties.
Oh, sure.
Very
Oh, my
unbelievable.
God.
Look at the
What was
little
the-
renaissance that's gone
like
on
in the
Roxbury.
late 80s, early 90s, there was one built up in the back by Roxbury somewhere. That's way back now. It was a housing development or condos.
Oh, Roxbury Run.
Roxbury Run.
The next, Roxbury Run is fully occupied, those condos are fully occupied. A very good friend of mine sold his house and moved in there. And he told me yesterday and he moved in there about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Since he's moved in, the price of those units is doubled.
Cash buy it. I don't know if you guys have noticed.
And he
We took
paid
a-
like
a
300
check,
and some
62%
when he
of our
moved in.
last sale.
So,
That'd be cash.
That's cool.
And they're not cheap cash, you know, 150, 200,000. Here's the money. I don't ask that question, but you'd like to know where it came from.
the other thing that I was told when I was there yesterday is there has been some movement by the Middletown Planning Board to change their zoning law and allow condos up at the Bel Air Resort site.
Right, that was in the
And
paper.
it was in the paper, and that Ken Pasternak has decided to go ahead and start developing some condos up in there. So we're gonna finally see some activity. And I suspect that once they start building the condos, they'll probably end up with a hotel developer to come right in on the heels of that. So
Fantastic.
even though that the majority of the condos are, it's right on the border of Delaware County. Depends on where in the
Yeah.
development they start building, whether they affect.
But you don't need flat ground for that.
Hmm?
Because they all want a view.
Right.
Right,
Well, it's pretty flat when you get up in there.
but the positive side of Delaware,
Section?
Yeah.
Where Highmont Ski Area used to be?
Yeah, they own the High Mouse ski area.
It's right
I
across
knew
the
they
Bel
bought
Air.
it loud.
It's right across the street from the High Mountain ski area. Out in the woods, there's kind of a
So
plateau.
New York State's not gonna fight that?
no.
I won a ski race there once upon a time.
At High Mount?
Yeah, but the advantage is a lot of these people will come into Delaware County to Margaretville versus going down the other side.
Of course.
Margaretville is the bigger
Right.
town in that area, so even if we don't get a big advantage from assessment on the houses, we're gonna get cash volume in our businesses.
Right. It's sales tax revenue.
Oh, no question. So
it's
good.
Trees.
It's a real positive step, I think.
Who's that little family that owns the lumber company down there at the bottom of the hill? Our side.
Waddlers.
Waddlers and, yeah.
Yeah.
Fleshmans.
They keep getting flooded out.
They're looking to move, I heard.
Hmm?
They're looking to relocate. I heard.
Yeah, but that's been in the works.
They've been doing that ever since the flooding started. Okay, anything else? George is hungry, so,
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
thank you.
Okay, thank you, Clarita.
Appreciate, see ya.
See you, Frida.
Nice seeing you guys all. Take care.